is on the show today in about, 15 minutes. We'll play that for you. I did the interview just before we came in to the studio today. Chip joined me, and we had a chance to sit down. As you can imagine, he's busy. For those that don't know, Chip Baker was a longtime coach at Florida State for Mike Martin, and then transitioned into the director of baseball operations role for Florida State for the better part of 2 decades, and announced yesterday that he's going to retire. And he is a Florida State legend. He is a baseball legend. He is a fountain of knowledge and really a wonderful man. And so when I saw that he was retiring, I wanted to reach out to him. We wrote a story, Ira did, on warchant.com. I'm sure you see it pop up on most places that cover Florida State, at least in terms of the announcement of his retirement. But I wanted to get him on and talk with him, just have a conversation with him. He's so fun to talk to. You know, I'll be honest, and I say all this when we talk, so I won't prattle on too much here about it. But I really, when I first broke into the business, were a few key people that helped welcome me and give me an opportunity to feel ingratiated and have the chance to kind of get my feet under me and learn the ropes and how to do this job and how to cover these players and these coaches and these teams and how to do so knowing that you were going to have to criticize them and knowing that you were going to be in awkward positions occasionally. And the people that made that easier were those that understood my job, understood my role, and didn't take it personal. It's hard not to sometimes. I mean, I've crossed the line before, and, players and coaches, it can be a tough deal when you're paid to give an opinion about them, specifically them, on a daily basis. And sometimes you're going to ruffle feathers, but guys like Chip really made it easier to do that job, and that they didn't take it personal, and they would pull you aside, and they would talk to you man to man, and they would ask you questions, and they could agree to disagree, and they would make your job easier. They'd reach out to you about a player or something that was going on within the program to give you context so that you could go on the air and have the full story. And because it's not always just what you're observing. There are other things that are happening. And from day one, he did that, Tom. From day one, he pulled me aside, didn't know me from Adam. Didn't have any reason to try to help me. Just did. And there are other guys like Chip, but not too many. And he is unique in the world of baseball, that's for sure. And he was awesome.
Yeah, I can tell you.
Still is awesome.
So it's nearly 15 years since I began, and this is Chip's day. He's retiring after 39 years, 21 as the director of baseball operations for Florida State, but then 18 as a coach. I mean, you talk about a Florida State baseball lifer.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're young and you're easily skittish because you realize you're covering Florida State. And this was always something that mattered a lot to me, a football program and athletic department that mattered a lot to me. When somebody takes the time to be courteous to you when you're nobody.
Oh, it's huge.
And it's not even like, so what now? You're still a regular person, and you're still a person that's covering sports for a living. There are much more important people in the world.
Sure.
But when relative to your peers in the industry, there are guys when I started that were in the print industry, have been covering Florida State for decades. When you're the lowest on the totem pole and somebody takes the time to pull you aside, is kind to you, it makes all the difference. I can tell you, Ira is one of the first people that ever pulled me aside and said, "Hey, aren't you interning with Jeff's show?" I said, "Yeah, I'm interning at 1270. My name's Ira. If you need anything, let me know." It's just Jason Laterme, Bob Thomas at Florida State. They were that way as well. It just, your heart rate lowers a little bit and you say, okay, I can do this. I can do this because I know I've got people that are on my side.
Yeah. And who get it. And I always thought too, one of the things, and again, you guys are going to hear from Chip in about 10 minutes. So we'll run that interview. It's a good one. I really enjoyed talking with him. I always do on and off the air. I've known Chip well. He's always just been such a down to earth guy. You run into Chip at like Publix or something, you have a 20-minute conversation about baseball. It's awesome. And, I'll sit down and have a beer with Chip and we'll shoot the breeze about a lot of things. He's an interesting guy. But one of the things that when you when you can talk to somebody and express, that, I don't know, I'm a little uneasy about this. What should I say about this? How should I go about this? And they don't get immediately defensive, but they're able to talk to you and be sincere.
Yeah.
And kind of get the role you're in and get the situation you're in, man, that is kind of rare, and it's awesome when it happens. And when you get people who want to help, but then what I was saying was that this football coaching staff, again, it's Chip's day, so I don't want to spend too much time on the football staff right now, but that's one of the real feathers in the cap of Mike Norvell. It's one of the things that immediately we thought, oh, well, this is good. This has a chance. I don't know what he'll be as a coach. I don't know if we'll win enough. I don't know, whatever. We'll have to judge this day by day and see how it goes. But, man, when your policy is that you're proud of the way you go about doing your business and you're proud of the way that you instruct, teach, and run a program, and you want others to see it and understand it and know it, and you want to shine a light on those players that are producing those wins or big plays or whatever it might be, that's smart. That's really smart, because what it does is it engenders sort of a feeling from the community, from the fan base, from the people who consume our content. It creates context and it creates an understanding that, hey, this is a guy who's confident enough to know what he's doing, in his mind at the very least, is the right thing, and he wants you to see it. He's got nothing to hide. And whether you know that or not as a fan consciously, that's what that policy is. He's celebrating what he thinks is going to be a successful run, and he likes to shine light on players. He always gives credit to players and service and all that other stuff. But it helps us do our job, and it gives you more information from which to glean how to feel about this team. It's awesome. It's awesome. And Chip was one of those guys, and there aren't a lot of them. I'm going to tell you that. There are people that we know, you just named a couple, that have helped us do our job. There are people who are in the industry who get it, but there are a lot more who don't. Oh, a lot more who are, I think cloaked in secrecy and want to keep you out of the loop and worry about you and get defensive around you or the media in general, or try to paint a picture, a nefarious look at, you're out to get them.
Well, it's like anything else. It could be a family reunion. It could be your own work environment. If somebody is acting distant and skittish, what's up is the first thing that goes on in your brain. Maybe you don't say it out loud to the person. Something's up with him. Something's up with her.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they acting all, shady? What's that about? So all that does is create the issue that you're trying to avoid.
Correct.
In that situation. And Coach Norvell said it from the word go. That was just before the pandemic. We had a luncheon, and it was supposed to be normal times ahead. But he was very straightforward. It was an off-the-record conversation, but I mean, the gist of it is very,
Yeah, you want to do a story, come to me, talk to me.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to give you the guy.
Exactly. Guys, we're going to open up the doors to you. We expect that in exchange for that, you don't break trust.
Yeah, you'd be reasonable with what you report.
And if you have something that is going to be important information, just run it by me when the cameras are rolling, and I'm going to answer it the way I want to answer it. That's fair.
Yeah,
that is called fairness. And yes, it's very rare. I was telling my family up north, I said, look, we get to go to every practice. They go, what? They're Notre Dame fans. And they're going, you get to see every practice?
Everyone. Yeah.
It's the greatest.
And we'll be doing it again real soon. 58 days till Florida State plays football. A lot fewer than that until they start practicing, which is amazing. Today's 49 days to the start of college football.
Ooh, buddy.
49 days. 49 days. 49 days. I mean, come on. Here we go. I did see this question, who's going to carry on the tradition? I asked this very thing to Chip. You'll hear it in a moment. Who's going to carry on the tradition of presenting a spiked baseball for defensive shutouts, to the FSU DC in the future? You present that to the defensive coordinator. Chip always did that. Spiked baseballs are pretty cool to look at, too. I don't know why. It feels like a Viking. Like, we're looking at something from the old world. But I always thought it was neat. And Chip assures us that he's got plenty of baseballs, plenty of spikes. So,
well, we've had one that's been waiting, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know what the sequence is. Does he spike it only after it occurs, or is there a spiked baseball that's been waiting for years?
No, I think he only does it afterwards.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never been next to him during that moment when it does happen, when he actually spikes. I want to see it.
You know what? Maybe the big shooter loves social media. That's his handle, the Big Shooter 3, because that's his number, near and dear to his heart. You know what, Big Shooter? The next time we get to spike a baseball, film it. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
It would be amazing. I want to be there to see it. Yeah, that was always one of my favorite things. And hey, it's really hard, extremely difficult to complete a shutout in today's football. I mean, these were a more regular occurrence. These things happened more often in football in the 90s, when we had a dominant team and the game hadn't changed to a place where it was so offensively heavy, and the rules hadn't shifted to a place where you frequently find yourself allowing for drives to extend because of nonsense calls like hitting somebody too hard. We get that all the time. That's the worst thing about the game of football today, besides what they allow in college, which is offensive linemen, in essence, to go downfield on passing plays, which drives me nuts. But other than that, you actually sit around watching football, and when somebody hits somebody hard, you go, oh, they're going to throw a flag. That just looked like it hurt. We can't have that anymore.
Yeah, the 11 hit from Nigel Bradham actually should have been a warning of what was to come. You know, we thought it was just a ridiculous outlier situation.
100 flags were thrown in that moment, yeah.
Well, because targeting wasn't a thing quite then, the way we know it now. But that should have been the warning to us of what was about to happen, because that was just the watershed moment for the ACC, but all conferences picked it up from that point moving forward.
Yeah, it's always frustrating. I don't want to get down into that muck again, because Lord knows we'll go down a path in which we just scream from our lawn and point to the clouds. But it is a thing that is frustrating. That's a sidebar thing. I never see that problem. Well, I shouldn't say never. I rarely see that problem in the SEC. They kind of just get it. I mean, that part of it they get. It's big boy football. Guys are going to get hurt. Protect yourself at all times. That's how it goes.
Yeah, if it's not a head and neck hit, you don't see a flag for hitting too hard. Now, you'll see targeting reviews and some where you go, that's the conclusion you draw from that play?
Every now and again.
But yes, because he hit him too hard is not a thing there. Yeah,
not a thing at all. Not a thing at all. All right, so we'll get out of the way here to start. I want to run that interview next. It's Chip Baker and myself from earlier today. He announces his retirement as the Colonel after 39 years with FSU. That is an awful long time. Retirements mean more to me these days when I see them around me than they did 10, 15 years ago. They kind of represent something different. Stage of your life, your age, you can kind of see the end there.
Proximity to death.
Yeah, you start thinking about these things. When he announced that yesterday, I was like, man, I'm kind of shook. Because, I've been covering this team 25 years. He's been here longer, obviously, but, I kind of arrived way early in his time, certainly all of the time that he's been the director of baseball operations.
Should I get size for a casket? Should I call over, get my measurements?
Just saying, it represents a little bit something different than it used to. Chip Baker joins us next. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
A cup of Joe, Java, brew, go-go beans, brain water, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
You've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub? Now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
This is Dr. Ryan Finn in Tallahassee. It's time to spring into health. Spring brings neck pain, back pain, headaches, and allergies. We have specific adjustments that can help with these issues.
This is Dr. Shannon Lord. Don't let neck pain, back pain, headaches, or allergies stop you from enjoying the Sunshine State. Spring into action and make your appointment online at finnchiro.com, FENNCHIRO.com.
That's FENNCHIRO.com.
Remember, your chiropractor loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Welcome in, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, and I'm proud to call him a friend, and this is kind of a surreal moment. I was just telling him off the air. For me, Chip Baker, Director of Baseball Operations, former coach there for Mike Martin, third base guy forever, and really a kind of a legend here at Florida State and a legend in the game, joins me now to talk about his pending retirement, which he announced yesterday on social media. I'm sure all of you saw that. And it immediately made waves. Chip, how you doing, buddy? Let's get caught up on how we came to pass with this retirement abruptly and a year short of 40. Come on, man.
Katie Bake, my daughter, wanted 40. I said, Katie, 39 is division of 3, and that was my number, my uniform number. 39 is a good year.
It's a good year, and it's been a hell of a run, Chip. You've got memories. I mean, you can talk about this program in a way that really virtually nobody else can. When you made the decision to retire, what was first and foremost on your mind, beyond wanting to retire and have some time for yourself and all of that? What, if you could, in a way, encapsulate your career at Florida State, what would you say about it?
The opportunities I had, Mike Martin gave me the opportunity 4 decades ago. And it was coming in here. This place was a shell of what it is now. I mean, it was Florida State baseball, but what's been done around the facility, again, it needs some love. And I hear you all the time. It's getting some love, but opportunity to work for the greatest person I know, Mike Martin, greatest coach, won more ball games. We're still trying to get him that big one, but the opportunity to do that. The opportunity Mike Martin Jr. gave me 3 years ago. I mean, I planned it all out when Coach Martin was his last year. I planned it all out. I had a few rental prop, whatever, I got rid of everything. I wasn't going to have a camp that summer and got rid of everything. And I was, next guy didn't want me, move on. Well, Junior gave me the opportunity, and I wish Michael the best on it. He gave me the opportunity. I said, Mike, I can help you. Let someone else run the camps. I've had a bunch of those parents reach out to me, and guys who came to camp who are now granddads. Makes me feel old. But Link Jarrett brought me in last year. He said, I need this, this, and this. I need your help. He gave me the opportunity to work for a year. I love him. He's my shortstop. But he's got it in good hands. We just got to get some players.
Well, that's the task that he has, and we've seen a very busy offseason. But back to you. Did you have any idea at the time that you got the opportunity that you just referenced from Mike Martin and you came to Florida State that this would be your place of business, your place of work, your passion, your love, your commitment for close to 40 years? Were you thinking in those terms?
Jeff, I dabbed into the head coaching interviews we had a pretty good run in the 90s. You know that.
Yes, you
World
did.
Series 6 out of 7 years, and I dabbed into an interview at Ball State back in I think '96. I get up there, and it was a beautiful spring day, and the leaves are blooming. But I saw those leaves blooming 4 months ago in Florida. Realized I ain't coming. I'm not coming to Ball State. And then another dab was I interviewed during a summer camp. I interviewed at NC State. And Ellie Avant and I were good friends. We've become great friends. He got the job at NC State, and I said to myself, there's nothing wrong with being the guy that the man relied on. I may not have been whatever, but I was the guy Mike Martin relied on. He wanted something done. Most of the time, I made somebody else's idea, and I didn't care who got the credit. But I got what he wanted, and we got a pretty good run with the big guy.
Yeah, I remember I was a student here in the early 90s, and I would watch you guys. I'd go do my homework at Hauser. This is before they added on to the stadium. Chip, you've been here for so many moments, the games, the players, the coaches, everything you've seen. Is there one that stands out more than another? You talk about that run in the 90s. You know, Chip, when I broke into radio, the late, great Lee Bowen brought me over to the stadium to sit down with Mike Martin and the assistant coaches, and I got a chance to talk to you, and I got a chance to kind of introduce myself, and you were always incredibly kind to me, and I want to give you all the credit in the world for that. You made it very easy for me. But I was in awe. I think everybody was, the consistency and the domination and the games won and the players that came through here. It seemed like every weekend at Hauser, Chip, there was another special moment, an indelible memory. It could be a J.D. Drew home run. It could be any number of things. I remember him and Jeremy Morris and all the things that happened. Is there one thing that stands out to you more than most? A game, perhaps, that you thought, "Oh, doesn't get much better than this."
How long we got, Jeff?
We got as much time as you want.
I can go back and talk about ball games. And someone asked me that at dinner last week. What's your most proud moment? And I said, the year that J.D. Drew had here in '97. The year that's the greatest baseball player I ever saw. And I pushed his button every day. And he knows it to this day. Every day I had to get him going about something. But I was a part of the Marshall McDougal 6 home run game. You don't realize I put him to bed the night before, and they're all playing PlayStation with cables hooked in the hallways, all the way down the hall. Now it's internet. I said, guys, let's get some sleep. We play at noon tomorrow, early day, and we didn't take batting practice. So I grabbed Marshall. Let's go to the cage. Flipped him 4 balls. He says, I'm good for it. I'm good. He picked the balls up, grabbed a bucket, and I'm chirping at him going back to the dugout because he didn't get, I didn't think, enough swings. Well, first at bat, he hit a sorry single up the middle. And I went out in an inning, grabbed his helmet, and I said, you should have took more swings in the cage. That's fact. Next 6 at bats, that's history. 7 for 7. That's one of my good ones, But
Chip, nobody will ever do that again. You were part of something that will never be done again. And by the way, a lot of researchers look to find it. And in organized professional or college baseball, it had never happened.
Wow.
In the history of the game. So,
there's reminders in my phone every year on May the 8th. Tomorrow is Marshall McDougal Day on May the 9th. And I try to proclaim it a holiday, but there's nothing else going on May 9th. And it's incredible. Incredible. There's so many guys have been around. You go back to, Richie Lewis, Mike Lowen, those guys when I first got here. I got guys that I was only a few years older. They're in their 50s now that have reached out on a daily, weekly, daily basis. And guys, it's everybody keeps saying write a book. Once the book's in my head, you got to get it out of it. It's in there somewhere. But it's been a great 39-year run.
You'll have an opportunity, Chip. You have a seemingly photographic memory for baseball. Every time I've ever brought up a moment to you, you've told me the things surrounding that moment, the things that led to that moment, the things that happened after that moment. I am curious, as your role developed, and, I always looked at you as kind of, I don't want to say good cop, bad cop. You were the good cop because that makes Mike a bad cop, and I don't mean it that way. But, like, you were the guy that kind of connected, as you just described, with the players, and that allowed Coach Martin to kind of do what he needed to do as a head coach and all those responsibilities off the field and all those things. He knew that he could trust you to do that. When did you kind of figure out did you go player by player, Or was it sort of a role you could play where you knew how to bring out the best in players just by getting to know their personalities, or did you play a certain role that you knew would work for them?
Never had an agenda. I'm not that smart, but I'm a people person. If that guy's personality connected with me, I mean, I got a guy, Mark Ronan. I got 5 guys. I mean, I'll go on to talk about it. But he's one of my guys. I signed him. I flew to Tampa, signed him, came back for a ball game, and very close with him to this day. He came to third base one day, and I start getting on him. Where have you been? Your dad called me from Alaska. Where have you been for the last 3 days? You haven't been on TV. You haven't been on base. And I'm poking it. I'm poking it hard. And he said, I said, don't look at me. Watch the pitcher. I kept fouling balls off, and I didn't stop. I did not stop. I hold that bat, and I'm chirping on him, kind love him, patting him on the back, or whatever. But I am in his ear. After the game, he came to me and says, thanks for getting on me. He had 3 hits that night. It wouldn't worked out. So, Doug Minkiewicz. I poked him every day during infield. Every day during pregame infield, Doug Minkiewicz. I used to tell him, you better get 3 hits midweek game. You better get 3 hits today because that guy Friday night's going to stick it to you. You better get your 3 hits on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Or Friday night he gets his second hit and he's screaming at me, I got 2 and I'm getting 3 more. Just gotta poke him. Just gotta poke him a little bit. I missed that. And I got a few guys on this ball club this past year. I poked them a few times in my stay out of the way role. But yeah.
I'm going to guess here, Chip, because I can hear it in your voice. That's the aspect of this you're going to miss the most. It's the guys. It's the clubhouse. It's the locker room. It's the connections. It's the moment where the light bulb goes off for somebody that you've been working with, and he seems lost in the wilderness, doesn't have a clue, and then eureka, he's got it, and it's a 3-hit day. And you played some small role in that, maybe a major role in that. That's the stuff you're going to miss, I'm assuming.
True, very true. You go back to Kevin Cash. Kevin Cash was not having a great day in practice. I think it was his sophomore year in January. And Jeff, back in the day, we played at the end of January, so we're scrimmaging.
Yeah.
And Kevin gets jammed in practice. He's mad. He wanted to play third. I think he's back at first. He ended up being at third. We all figured it out. And he gets jammed in practice by a live pitch, and he kind of halfway jogs to first. I've been around Coach Martin a long time. He threw him off the field. Get out of here. You go play like that, get out of here. This is sophomore, Kevin Cash. I walked in that locker room, and he and I had a moment. And I love Kevin Cash. It might have changed his outlook because the next morning he walks in my office and reaches out, wants to shake my hand. I said, no. I gave him the biggest hug in the world. I said, I'm in your corner. Let's go to work. That's go to work. And that might have changed it. I don't know. And he was 19, 20 years old. Again, that was how many years ago?
It did change him, Chip. And now he's the manager of the Rays, and he's really successful and got some success at the major league level. And you did that for a lot of guys. As an aside, I'm kind of curious. I always thought Kevin Cash had the strongest arm in the field that I had ever seen throw across the diamond. Am I wrong?
That was going to be my next comment. Fans come to the ballpark, and I had someone tell me one day, he said, I get to the ballpark to watch you hit fungos. Well, yeah, I can still hit one. Yeah. I ain't going to hit it hard, but I can still hit it. And matter of fact, I got it locked up, and it's going out of here today. I may not be gone in a month or two, but that fungo's leaving today. And to be on the field, and Jamie Shoup's wife said, I used to love to watch Kevin Cash throw the ball across the infield. And I said, Karen, you need to be down there so you can hear it.
Yep.
You can hear that ball across the infield. So that brought up things that people point out to me. And I'm up in the TV booth I had opportunity to work in. And air conditioners are great, but I see so much more up here than you can see on the field. But being on that field, you can't replace it. You're part of the game. You're part of the kids. You're part of the kids' life. And Coach Martin, I was never the guy to go over and hug with all the other assistant coaches. I didn't really know them. All the other coaches knew them because they recruited with them. I ran the summer camps, which were pretty good. But my job was to take my 9 to beat that 9 on the other side. Mm-hmm. And We want one more than we lost, as they say.
Oh, to say the least. I did get a question posed to me yesterday when the news broke that you were retiring, Chip. And the first thing a few people reached out to me and wanted me to ask you was, who's going to spike the baseball for shutouts? I mean, what are we going to do, my man? You created a tradition that is pretty damn cool. You're going to be around here. You still spiking baseballs if we can shut anybody out in the modern game of football?
We shut somebody out. There's plenty of baseballs in my house.
Okay.
It's a project I do at home. I will be there Monday morning. I promise you.
You're going to hang around the ballpark, Chip? You're going to be there? I don't think you can be away from it, can you?
That's one thing Link Jarrett asked me yesterday. I surprised him. He didn't know it was coming. I mean,
wow.
Jason Dennard is my oversight. Instrumental. He was my music guy 20 years ago when I was coaching.
Yeah.
And he's my oversight, the director of marketing for Florida State Athletics. And he and I have become very close in conversations. And I've been asking him, I said, I planned everything out, as I mentioned earlier, when Coach Martin's going to retire. And then when Mike Martin Jr., the change of command last summer, did Link, I said, 39 is good. And I walked in to Jason and I talked to him. I walked in and obviously there was some emotion. And I said, it's time. And then walked up. I said, I want to go see the boss. I want to see Michael. Oh, Michael's been great. I walked in his office. I said, boss. And I'm emotional again 3 or 4 times yesterday. It wasn't fun. I said, it's time. I said, I'm here from Florida State. Same thing I told him last June. If I can help you out in Florida State. So I'll come back in. I was going to tell Courtney and Nikki in the office. And my joke was, if I'm ever out of here, my keys are in the door. Jokingly. Well, I put my keys in the door. I was going to tell them before I told Link. Yeah. When Link comes down the hall, he's been in the room and in there getting ready to release, a new assistant coach and all that going in, or trying to get the information out. So I stood in front of my keys. So we go back down the hall and I lock it up again, Jeff. I locked it up 3 times in 20 minutes yesterday. And I got it's all out. And I said, Link, it's time. You look at me, I said, I'm going to retire. Run me out of here when you want me to, but this is it. And I said, I'm help you whatever you want me to do, but it's time. And I go home, had to do with the service guy at my house, come back in, people started calling me. So Jason Denner said, you need to get this out before it gets out. So I said, 5 people knew about it. He said, more people than 5 know about it now.
That's
so
correct.
Courtney took me over to see Bailey DeHart, and Bailey put the graphic together, the photo, this iconic photo. A good friend of mine took that photo of Mike Martin and myself at the College World Series. That's the last step that Mike Martin took on a baseball field as the head coach. And there was some emotion going on right there, so.
You can see it.
He took it, and I got a few of those blown up around the town, so letting you know that. So I'll hang one in the studio.
I'd love to have that in my studio.
Gotcha.
Hell, I'd have that in my house. And by the way, they should take that fungo and hang it in the Louvre, man. That thing is legendary.
And there's not Florida State's fungo. I bought 2 fungos 30 years ago at $300 a pop. So they're mine. And one of them got broke. Someone broke one, so I don't know. But yeah, that's mine. I got the receipt.
Chip, I want to say this to you as we wrap up. I'm sincere when I tell you that all of us that have been in the media have been fortunate enough to be in. I started covering Florida State professionally in '98, so it's been 25 years. And I've met a lot of people that have come and gone in the media, and a lot of people that have covered Florida State baseball and football and the like. And to a man and woman, every one of them would put a smile on their face the second we saw you when we went over to practice, when we went over to Hauser, when we went over to watch football or baseball, because you're radiant, you're real, you're sincere, you're kind in your heart, and you are loving. And that's why you connected with players. Why you connected with coaches and fans. It's why you're a legend. And I just want to thank you for being so good to me. I'm being selfish here. All of these years, you never took it personal if I criticized the baseball team or you or anybody else. You were a pro's pro when I wasn't. And I sincerely thank you. And I wish you nothing but the best in retirement. Chip, you're one hell of a guy, and it's been a hell of a ride. You're a legend, and you always will be. And thanks for coming on today and sharing your retirement, buddy. I wish you nothing but the best. I know you'll be around. I know we'll have an opportunity to sit down and talk, and I look forward to it.
Jeff, I really appreciate the opportunity to have me on here. And again, tip my cap to you for this. I appreciate it.
Be good, brother. Take care.
Thank
Chip
you.
Baker, everybody. He is a legend, and he is retiring after 39 years. We'll come back and react to that in a moment. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Riders at the Wild Adventures theme park in Georgia experienced a scare when a roller coaster stopped unexpectedly. The roller coaster called the Boomerang got stuck mid-ride, going forward along the track, then backward before stopping. A statement released by Wild Adventures said the stop was triggered by a safety feature activation. Riders were safely returned to the loading station within about 10 minutes. Following a comprehensive inspection, the ride was cleared and resumed operation that same night. The Hearts and Hands Farm in Tallahassee County is giving back to the community in a unique way. The original owners lost their son to a brain injury, so now they offer special rides for visitors with cerebral palsy, traumatic brain injury, and even multiple sclerosis. Therapeutic horseback riding can help people move their legs and hips in ways they may not be able to while in a wheelchair. To learn more, go to their website, handsandheartsforhorses.com. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Michael Caro with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. We'll see a blend of clouds and sunshine developing for this afternoon with some late day showers and storms developing, highs in the upper 90s. Then for tonight, showers and storms likely, especially in the evening, low of 75 with mid 90s for highs on Saturday. And this report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 87.
Here's a tip to keep it cool from E&B Heating and Air. Your outdoor unit works better if it's clean and clear of debris. Plants, grass, weeds, and trees can reduce performance, raising your power bill. Visit enbheatandair.com to get a free quote today.
Siri, tell me a joke. The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, you know, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay.
You know?
Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Conversation. Enjoyed him coming on there. I would pivot here from that only to note a couple of things. I'm sure you've seen this. Tom, I don't know if you have or not. Pro Football Network. I'm not sure who Pro Football Network is, but they're a website and they're ranking things again. You know how it goes. Well, one of their guys, Cam Mellor, has Jared Verse going number 1 in the NFL draft.
What?
Number 1.
Come on.
There's another site that has him going number 5. Saw that yesterday.
More believable. The desire for a pass rusher is bettered only by a desire for a quarterback.
Correct.
So that makes sense. But number 1 overall, I love Florida State as much as the next guy, but that's a little much.
Yeah, it's a lot much. I don't know how that would work. First of all, Arizona doesn't have a quarterback, so they should go ahead and do that. The midget that plays there is not performing well and has never performed well, and they need to move on. And then you've got 2 that are coming out, and they're both incredible. So, I mean, I would guess that's going to be quarterback.
Yeah, if Jared Verse is drafted over May or Caleb Williams, then let the Bucs have the third pick or the second pick in the draft, please.
So what is kind of fun to look at is that I think the Bucs probably project to have the first, second, third, worst case scenario, fourth pick. If you have the third pick in the NFL draft, you're going to get one of those two quarterbacks. Arizona's not drafting both. They've got the first two picks.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
According to this. Now, you could see how the standings shake out.
No, I think the way it's, yes. There was right. Okay, there's that. And then there was also a trade that they made. So they have a pick in one of those two
teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're likely going to get some scenario by which they're going to get one of these quarterbacks. That leaves the other for us if we're in the right spot.
Okay.
If we're not in the right spot and we're further down, are we
going to hate Baker Mayfield for leading us to a 5-12 record in the fifth pick?
Well,
is that where we're going?
Okay, well, if he does, then, you've got an opportunity, I think, to draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's great.
He's a star.
Sure is.
Really good player.
Mike Evans was a star for years on sorry football teams.
We watched him rack up a lot of great seasons, though, and give us a chance.
Nuke Hopkins was a great player for the Texans. Didn't do much in the way of playoffs.
We need a quarterback. There's no doubt. And if you can get Drake May, I'd get him. I would get him.
Megatron had a hell of a career in Detroit.
Yeah. I'm with you. Here's where the problem is, you know what? I took the over on 6.5. I think the Bucs are going to go like 7-10.
Oh, no.
They're not terrible on defense. And, you get your weapons back on the offensive line. You're healthier than you've been in a long time. I don't know, buddy.
So I was doing a thought experiment while sitting on the beach. And it was about, remember the old quest for 8-8?
That was fun.
16 games?
16 game seasons, yeah.
Landed a couple of hits there. Houston 1 year, Kansas City another.
It was Oakland, I think, that you were, the Raiders is who you had.
That was it. Yeah, there were a couple of whopping failures, but most of the time.
Yeah, there were a couple of 3-13s in there. Yeah.
Yeah, but 3-13 the year before, a couple of those that made it all the way back up. And sometimes they made it to the wild card round. This year's, I went through all of the divisions. I think it's Atlanta. I think it's the Falcons.
Well, they'll be better than 8-8. I think that,
but you're talking about a team that finishes low, that is going to, rise. Well, I don't want to use their slogan for them, but that wants to rise up and put a number together. They could win the division outright because they're going to be about on the ground toughness, and they drafted towards it, and their coach is a jerk. And that's the way they want to play.
Atlanta is going to win the division.
I like how they've organized themselves.
I do too, and I hate to say it, but I think they are the division winner. I picked them to win the division, and I think they will. They are tough, and they can run the ball, and they're not terrible on defense. Yeah.
That was a solid football team that played much better than its talent level.
The second half of the season, they were good, man.
Yeah.
They were a tough out. They were a weird kind of team. They were physical, very physical. But, so we're at that place now where you start doing it. You start looking ahead at win totals for the NFL and making your early season bets, buddy.
Yes, that's part of it, and that's always fun. And we did that with college last week, which was great. Some of the future matchups and win totals. But this is also a year in which the NFL draft is going to matter a lot because we're going to see a lot of Noles that we watch this upcoming season land in different situations. And you're going to say, oh, man, that organization's a train wreck. I hope he can make it through there. Or, boy, that could not be a better fit for this player, for Trey Benson or for Johnny Wilson. I'm so happy to see them go to that organization because it's put together well, it's run well. You're going to be doing that for over 10 guys next year. So the NFL draft will actually be watched by more Noles that feel so about the NFL because they want to see where their guys go.
It was always one of those joys when we had the run of success forever that you could, I would get asked by Gene before I worked for Warchant. He'd be like, hey, can you submit your draft projections for, these 8 guys? And you just took for granted that you had 8 to 10 guys, 7 to 9 guys that were going to get drafted. And you were debating whether it was a second round pick, first round pick, third round pick, fourth round pick, wherever you were. We had a long run where you didn't have anybody. And this past year you had one.
I was around for some of this before Jimbo got it really cooking. This is just the beginning of my time working with you. Yeah, but a lot of the staff members at that time of Warchant, so this is a completely different roster than we have now.
Correct.
they would put, 4th round.
Yeah.
And you'd say not drafted.
Not drafted.
Undrafted. Free agent. This guy sucks.
I was brutal. People would get mad at me. I'd be like, why am I projecting where this guy's going to get drafted? He has
I'm not
zero.
gonna
I won't say
some
names,
of the names.
but I'd be like,
roller skates is one of the guys. Like, roller skates?
Roller
Why do we
skates
have him on the list?
He ain't getting drafted. That dude couldn't make the Canadian League. What are we doing? I would always submit that. People would be like,
and G'd be like, come on, Jeff.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? Lie?
I'm not going to tell you that guy gets drafted. He has zero chance to get drafted. He's a bum. Yeah, we had that all the time back in the day. But the opposite is true now. I mean, you could send me a list over of guys that are getting drafted. It's a long list.
Oh, it's
a very long
names.
list.
A dozen names.
It is a dozen names.
Maybe more.
Well, I mean, off the top of your head, you're just talking about getting drafted. Off the top of your head, you could, Trey Benson, Johnny Wilson, Jordan Travis, one of the probably 2 of those offensive linemen easily, maybe 3. On the defense, well,
if it's 3 offensive linemen, you're at 6.
Okay, Jared Verse, obviously.
Yep.
I think there's a good chance Patrick Payton's going to have a huge year and probably leave.
He'll project well.
And he's getting bigger and stronger by the day.
If he goes, that's 8.
Interior, Fabo's getting drafted for sure.
9.
If Darrell Jackson gets his waiver and plays the way he's capable of, my man's getting drafted maybe in the first round.
That's 10.
Geez, I would think Jaheim Bell is going to get drafted. Yeah, you can keep going.
Yeah,
I think Fisk will get drafted if he's up to what we think he is. He'll get drafted. He'll get drafted. Golly,
Deloach will get drafted.
Deloach will get drafted if he stays healthy and runs like we've seen him run. He'll get drafted. Yeah, golly.
Ventrell Cypress, if he does what Pro Football Focus says he's supposed to do, he'll get drafted.
Bernardo Green last year?
I think it can be. It can be. I don't know if he's a super senior or not.
He'll get drafted. He's talented enough.
Solid as a rock.
He'll get a look. He'll get a look. He's not a game changer.
But high floor guys, NFL loves those late rounds.
Yeah, well, special teams and everything else. Yeah, he'll get drafted. Yeah, man. It's crazy to think you could have 12, 13, 14. That's
and a lot the first 2 days.
And you had 1 last year. You had 1.
Yeah.
5th round pick, 1.
Probably at minimum 4 in the first 2 days, but you're probably more like a half dozen to 7 guys minimum in the first 2 days of the draft.
It's crazy. And it's so it changes the way that you look at the draft and all that. I mean, Benson is a guy that if he has the kind of season, Corey and I did, for those that haven't looked at it yet, go look Johnny Wilson, number 3 on the top 40 list, Warchant TV. Corey and I did that yesterday and sat down and talked. And, I was looking at, God, did we say Johnny Wilson just now?
Yeah.
Okay. I was hoping I didn't skip over Johnny Wilson.
Keon.
We went through Benson and Wilson's inconsistencies. Same conversation you and I had about Benson. When you go look at game logs, you really realize that they did the bulk of their damage in like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where they have these monstrous games. And then they have more than a handful of games where it's 2 catches, 20 yards. It's, 9 carries, 52 yards, 7 carries, 46 yards.
Yeah.
So you now realize that, A, they know they can perform on this stage at a very high level, that they're capable of dominating games. The last game Johnny Wilson played, he had over 200 yards receiving. He now knows certainly that he is the guy there, right? Trey Benson is part of a littered backfield. I mean, it's just loaded with tons of talent, but he's the guy coming into the year. And I would think if you're running back, you want to go pro sooner rather than later. You don't want to keep wearing carries. So we get him 15 carries a game with this schedule, my man's going to have 8 to 9 100+ yard games.
Oh yeah, I mean
easily.
No, he's staring at least, and this is if they don't use him as a workhorse, which they probably won't. It's not what this offense is built around. Is making one guy a feature player.
No, not
they
at all.
Spread the ball based on matchups. Nobody except Dalvin Cook has eclipsed 1,300 rushing yards in a season. This hasn't happened. Dalvin's 1-2. It's 1,700 and 1,600. Then there's this gulf before you get to work done. Fewer games, different era of football, all those things. But Trey should be, by season's end, number 3 in the single season rushing record for Florida State. He should be. If you give him 15 pops a game, he's running for 1,400 yards.
Yeah, he will.
There are more games.
Well, he had 990, 980,
it's
whatever
an
it was.
excuse me 1,000-yard season last year, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a star. And that, it's just fun to think about. Well, it's one of the reasons why when I get asked, and I've had some work done at the house recently, I've got a car that's being fixed, I've had plenty of opportunities to just talk to folks about the upcoming season while I stand around and wait for things to get fixed. And in the midst of those conversations, one of the things that I point out is kind of almost bulletproof that they're going to have a good season. We're only talking about the difference between good and great in terms of expectations, not going from bad to good. So it's a good season no matter what. And when you say no matter what, I said, yeah, well, I'm not anticipating. You can't anticipate injuries. You never make a projection based on who you think might get hurt or might not. So A, I'm saying nobody's getting hurt. Yeah, sure. But B, I'm pointing out that this offense is foolproof. I mean, they can't not be very, very good. They can't be. You'd have to really try to not be good on offense this year with this schedule and this talent.
Correct. The only thing that could trip them up is if they don't establish one thing in a game. You could see them in between.
Oh, they get betwixt and between. But what? How many times? I mean, you'd learn a lesson once, right? Crazy. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service, right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
There's no doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and of course the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans, and they're on your side and in your corner. They're going to go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers, and that's not all. Shannon is an expert navigator of the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
NMLS number 2270-146.
At Epps Decorating Center, we're your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. We're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. We're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. We're your local experts, and we're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore, available at Epps Decorating Center with 2 locations in Tallahassee. Find a store near you and visit EppsDecorating.com. That's EppsDecorating.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, for the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3, WVF, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
The Miami Marlins couldn't quite finish off a 4-game series sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals.
They lose yesterday by a 3-0 score. Tonight, they open up a series against the Phillies. Good pitching matchup as Sandy Alcantara is going to start for the Fish. The right-hander is 3-7, a 4.93 ERA. Zach Wheeler is going to go for the Phillies. He is 7-4 with a 4.03 ERA. The Phillies are favored in tonight's game, paying out at -124. The Marlins, they pay at +106. Tampa Bay and Atlanta open up a series against each other tonight. Tyler Glass now pitching for the Rays, and the Rays are considered -120 favorites. For the latest odds all the time, visit vsin.com. I'm Matt Pauley. This has been your action update on Tallahassee's Real Talk station, Real Talk 93.3.
Your home is the place where you know your loved ones are secure. But the things that keep your home protected can't keep pests at bay. That's where RAID comes in. For 60 years, RAID scientists have worked to protect people around the world with trusted research, ingredients, testing standards, and product efficacy. RAID seeks to create a better future for all, especially the ones you love most. RAID, protection for all.
At Taco Bell, we like to keep mornings simple because before 11 a.m., you're not down for whatever. No. You're not interested in trying new things. No. You want a breakfast that's toned down and delicious, like the Breakfast Crunch Wrap with fluffy eggs, sausage, melty cheese, and a crispy hash brown and a grilled tortilla. I want to eat that. See? You may not be a morning person, but it's morning, and you're a person. Taco Bell breakfast, served until 11 a.m. At participating Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only while supplies last.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at widdenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races. I think about work, the kids, but I don't think about taking melatonin because I'm afraid I'll feel groggy in the morning.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies has an optimal dose of melatonin for no next day grogginess, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake up feeling refreshed. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies for better sleep like never before. And try Pure Z Sleep plus Next Day Energy with melatonin plus extended release B vitamins.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
never ending. But that's exactly what happened.
This has been the longest work week of my life.
Tough day, huh? Cam Young leading the way at the John Deere. You all wanted to know. I tell you that because I have Cam Young as my first pick this week.
Hey.
Woo-hoo-hoo. There we go.
Didn't you have Xander?
A couple weeks ago. No, I got screwed. Remember,
you
I had
Morikawa last week, didn't you?
I had Morikawa, and he was right there.
He was right
and,
there.
I had Ricky Fowler before that. And remember when he went 8 under or whatever it was, or 9 under, and then got tied? And I was like, really? We're going to get tied.
I did have occasion to watch that playoff last week.
Good for him, man.
And that was, what a reaction.
It's a cool reaction. You talk about relief.
Yeah.
Also, that's just drained. That's that old putting stroke. That's where he looks comfortable again.
You know me, I'm not a fan of guys with the long putters, but that is the greatest use of a long putter ever, is just to stand using it and then
stand there,
stand over the ball to say, and it's over. Okay.
He's putting well now, man. The fat grip and all that stuff, it looks effortless to watch. It was good to see. Good for him. Yeah, John Deere's whatever. I did take Cam Young.
Jonas was up yesterday.
9 under yesterday for Jonas Blix, Florida State's own. He is out on the course right now. He'll have some catching up to do, so we'll see, because everybody goes low. These two events are back-to-back. You like to see guys birdie holes these last two events, Detroit and now here. If you want to watch, the winner is going to be minus 25.
I will watch more of the U.S. Women's Open this weekend than I will the John Deere.
Pebble Beach, buddy. It's glorious.
Yep.
And as you and I have rightfully pointed out before, that the thing about women's golf that's fun is they hit shots like we hit shots. And what I mean by that is not that we're as good as them, no, but the distances are the same. Like your best women golfers, they're hitting 6 and 7 irons the same distance you and I hit 6 and 7 irons. It's
That's
awesome.
Right. Yeah. I can outdrive most of the LPGA Tour.
I would hope.
When it comes to iron striking, every time 162. Oh, I'd hit a 7.
Yeah,
she has a 7 iron.
Yeah, you're like, all right, it's the kind of shot I did. Here
Let's see
we go.
if she can hold the green.
Yeah, I do the same thing. All right, well, back to football just for a second, because we are 49 days away from the start of college football. Sub 50, it's on. It is on. And we've been asked a couple of times this week, do we know when camp begins? The answer is no, we do not know when camp begins. We can project, we can suggest, we think we know around when camp begins. Now, we do know this. We know that we head to Charlotte, North Carolina to cover the ACC meetings and the ACC kickoff, which this year will be very intriguing. Obviously,
a 3-day event for the first time.
No need for 3 days. You and I go on a Monday. What is that? The
24th.
We leave on the 24th to head to Charlotte.
Florida State's day is Wednesday, the 26th.
We'll do our interviews with coaches and players and go from there. And that's always fun. It's always the indicator that it's go time. Coaches never feel like they have enough time. So it's funny when you capture Mike or any other coach in that setting, they have a look of, I know I have to talk to you. I know this is a media event and I have to be available and open to these discussions, but I have somewhere to be. That is always the look they have on their face. It's like, great, good to see you too. Can we leave? Can I go? Is this over? Is always sort of the, because once you hit the ground running, man, you got 4 weeks and it is time to play LSU. There's no warm-up game here.
And there have been a couple of times since Mike Norvell has been to ACC kickoff that you see him on the phone with recruits. And, you can't obviously discuss that. We all know that's a thing that happens. But that is the time when you're trying to wrap up some recruitments, get a commitment before camp begins.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a critical period of time. I know when we were on the Smash a couple of weeks ago, Ira and I had a bit of a disagreement about when we think camp's going to be. I think it'll start around Saturday, the 5th of August, but he thinks that they want more time to space out some of camp. And that would be just after coming back from ACC kickoff. So
they'll be getting on right away, huh?
Saturday of this month. And if Ira's right, you can say that the camp would begin the final weekend of this month, the month that we're in currently, which is crazy.
Listen, for content purposes and for us to get on the ground and get locked in, I understand the sooner we start, the longer the year of working 7 days a week. The longer that responsibility is, because these days you go into December and it's not what it used to be. There's so much more going on because of signing day and all that other stuff. But so for you and I usually you like it pushed back a little bit, but I'll be honest with you. I am so excited about this season, so excited about what this team could be. Again, the difference between good or great is all we're talking about for this football team. It has been a minute, to say the least, since we've been able to describe an upcoming season as a guaranteed successful season. And by guaranteed successful season, I would tell you that if we're being honest, if you string together, let's say you have a 5-season outlook, and at no point in those 5 seasons do you win fewer than 9 games, then that's a successful run. Now, year to year, you're going to decide whether that team should have gotten more out of that season. There are years when you have a Jordan Travis that you have to make hay. You have a certifiable badass at quarterback, the most important position, with a schedule that is conducive to winning.
Yes, and a field of teams in upper level Division I or FC, whatever you want to call it, FBS, that is not littered with veteran quarterbacks. Last year, a lot more of them. This year, you've got 2 that are ahead of Jordan for sure in the NFL draft pecking order.
Sure, yes, absolutely.
The Ohio States and Alabamas and Clemsons of the world, they don't all have third-year quarterbacks that are all Heisman candidates as we sit here. The veteran status lies with us.
Yeah. So each of those years you're going to look at and say, all right, well, yeah, great, Jeff. You tell me over a 5-year span, they're never going to win fewer than 9 games. Yeah, that's a successful run. By any stretch, you'd judge any program that way. You'd say, well, at no point would you call them bad.
Right.
You would just say that they were
disappointing.
Disappointing. They might have been good, but not great. They were, that's a good team. That wasn't a great team. That kind of thing. That's where we are. That's where we've arrived to. And it kind of went from not being that at all to that right now very quickly. Just one season between, can we just not suck? Can we just not suck? Was the high end of our expectation. Think about that. 2 years ago, before you went into last season, you were just merely grasping for, can we just not suck status. And now, before this season, all you can ask is, can we be great? Because I know we're good. That's awesome. That is crazy. You should pinch yourself. Obviously, you don't settle with that. You go on. You move forward. You continue to ascend. You didn't, as I said on yesterday's show, Mike Norvell did not come to Tallahassee to be a pretty good coach and win 8 or 9 games. He had to get to that place so that he could stay here. He had to get to that place so that he'd be allowed the opportunity, afforded the opportunity to go win more games. But he didn't come here to be an average-ass 8-4, 9-3 kind of guy. He came here because, A, this is a destination job. You can make a ton of money, and you can win national championships. He could have just stayed at Memphis if he wanted to be a 9-10 win coach, get paid well thought of without a lot of pressure. He came here because he wants to win national championships. This is a prestige school. This is a destination job. This is a place with cachet. So we've arrived at that place. He finally got across that threshold to where, okay, now we're good. Oh, good. We've entered the good. This is a nice place. I like this. Good car. Good car. Not my favorite car, but this is a nice car. We'll be all right here. It's not a jalopy. We're doing all right. Now we're driving down the road, and I say to Tom, next year I think we should take a Mercedes. Next year, maybe we should get a loaded whatever.
Yeah. Instead of bringing the 5-finger plate from Zaxby's, let's bring the whole damn platter. Because that's what we are now. I don't show up at the party with a piece of Texas toast and a 5-finger plate.
Not anymore.
Get the platter.
That's right.
I'm the platter guy.
With the Zax sauce.
That's right.
Spicy as it is. And we all celebrate the 46 locations in Tallahassee.
So when we go to friends' houses for parties, they say, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to focus on dessert for our hosting
because I know
duties.
Tom's got us with the Zaxby's.
He's just going to throw the platter down on the counter and say, have at it.
Split top bun, big old piece of chicken with pickles.
He knows I want the sandwich. Even though I'm hosting with the platter, I want a sandwich for myself.
Delicious. Good stuff. Yay, Zaxby's indeed. I'm glad you worked it in there because I got so excited and carried away about the expectations of this season and where we sit currently that I overlooked our friends at Zaxby's who sponsor this show and proudly do so, as well as Florida State football for over 18 years.
That's right.
Oh,
There you go.
Do
I was
not
gonna
try
say,
that at the house.
How do you overlook 18 years of Golden Chiefs
Don't
status?
try it at the house. I knew you were going to try to get there, but I got you. I beat you to it once you offered up the softball.
That's right.
Phil Steele's got Florida State number 7 in the country. Quote, if it's not going to be Clemson coming out of the ACC, it will be Florida State. The Noles have loaded up this offseason, both recruiting and in the transfer portal. Quarterback Jordan Travis returns and will have targets like Johnny Wilson and Michigan State transfer Keon Coleman to throw to, with Jared Verse, maybe the best defender in all of college football, terrorizing opposing quarterbacks off the edge. The Noles have a chance to be dominant on both sides of the ball. They open the season against LSU and play Clemson before September is out, so we'll know quickly how ready Florida State is to compete at the highest level. Yes, and in that ranking, he has Florida State 7 and Clemson 6. So there you go. Are you wondering about LSU? Sure you are. He's got LSU at 11.
Ooh, all right.
Behind Utah.
What?
I love Utah more
man.
than most. And I have successfully rode the back of Cam Rising and the rest of the Utah faithful.
That state has been very good to you.
Unbelievable. Between Utah State and Utah, I have made a pretty penny. Utah, man, Kyle Whittingham ain't having it. That man can coach. That's why it crushed me last year when they choked that game away against Florida. They had him beat in the swamp.
Yep.
But they get him this year.
Their path to the playoff, it was gone. It was gone.
But, alas, they did win the Pac-12. Again.
Yes, that game got uncomfortable after the first time that USC faltered on offense.
Oh, buddy.
You need to score every time.
Because you're not stopping them, and they're
Nope.
tough. They're physical, man, and they got an all-world tight end that I wouldn't mind seeing in Tampa. Dalton Kincaid's a beast.
And they're unafraid. It could be 3rd and 5. They'll call a run up the gut. You know why?
Because they're going for it on 4th and 2.
And they're going to run it right at you.
Right at your ass.
And
They
they're
don't
gonna get
care.
it, and they'll get it.
Physical. That's an old school brand of football.
It
Love the Utes. What does he say about LSU? Because we don't play Utah. After surprising many in year one, Brian Kelly, by winning the SEC West and appearing in the conference title game, LSU won't be flying under the radar this year in 2023. Starting quarterback Jaden Daniels is back. Backup Garrett Nussmeier would probably be starting out of the majority of college football programs. All 5 offensive linemen from 2022 are back. There's absolutely no shortage of offensive skill in Baton Rouge. Defensively, the return of defensive tackle Mason Smith, that's unfortunate.
Yep.
Could pay dividends for the Tigers. He was hurt early in the opener in 2022 against FSU and missed the whole season. His presence anchoring the defensive line with star sophomore linebacker Harold Perkins behind him is a scary tandem, one that LSU hopes can take them back to the SEC title game. Yeah, they're really good, man. And the Mason Smith injury last year was devastating for them in the game that we won. It changed the game. I don't know that they would have won if he stayed healthy, but he is a difference maker big time.
Yeah, because Perkins had not developed into what he
at
became.
all.
Yeah.
And by the middle of the season, you realized Harold Perkins was a nightmare. And every time you looked up, you're like, well, this dude, God, dog.
Yeah. You just think to Orlando the next season, you're like, well, okay, that'll be a problem. Good news is Florida State is uniquely situated to work against a good linebacker.
They are. Perkins is the kind of linebacker, Tom, that we should be recruiting. He's 6'3", 220
Are you saying
pounds.
we should tamper and call over?
Well, if you get swept, Harold, by Florida State, why wouldn't you want to come play for a winner?
You got one more year?
Yeah, come on down, baby. But Harold was a 5-star recruit out of Cypress, Texas, and damn it, when you see a good one at linebacker, you are reminded that you don't have one like that. And they're fun to watch. They're really good. He's a good player.
It's okay, buddy. I wasn't here for Wednesday's show, but Brian Courtney's got us.
Well, I think most would tell you that my response to being overwhelmingly right yet again and having predicted it more than a year in advance was tepid. I was very lukewarm on the patting of my own back. I think Director Matthew would tell you that. I could have gone all in. I was calm. I didn't give you a ton of I told you so's the way I should have.
It would be like if you managed a franchise of a Zaxby's and you just, fed the chicken to the person. They said, and you're like, I know.
Yeah, I knew all along. Now you know.
You want me to say thank God? Because that would imply that I had doubts.
Somebody on the message boards, I saw it. I responded to them. I very rarely respond on the message boards, but
Wait a minute. I left and you went on the message boards and wrote something?
I responded to somebody who said that I set it up, like that the coaches told me this a long time ago, and that I was just in order to try to look smart or something like that. I was like, well, I like your stealthiness there, buddy. I should do that more often, but that's not how it happened.
No, there are times that you hear a hint and you're thinking, oh, that's a hint with context.
Yeah. This wasn't one of those.
You just looked at him.
Well, and his huddle tape, man. He played defense in Virginia. He was really good.
I watched his huddle tape. That's the other thing. Like, who are you?
Who
are you?
No, because I was so excited about getting a tight end. You know, you got to think about it. See, this is how it happened. It was organic. When there are positions of concern that I have, all right, when I'm pissed about something, right? Like I'm mad about linebacker. Well, when we start recruiting linebacker and we get a kid on the radar, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go look at him because we need help. Let's see if this guy's. When you tell me there's a DB, I'm not looking at Lester's huddle tape. I'm sure he's good. He's a 5-star. I'm sure he's good. We got lots of DBs. We're gonna be all right. But when you tell me we have a position like defensive end, I went and looked at D.D. Holmes. I went and looked at him.
Yeah,
because we got him. I knew we were going to get him.
What is your assessment, D.D. Holmes?
He's not an immediate impact on the team, but he will be. He
projects well.
He projects well, but he's not a guy to come in here and do anything next year. He's a guy that will come in and we need to develop him. I do think he's an edge setter. He's not a real explosive pass rusher. Enough of my analysis on him, but that's what I think he is.
Need more of that.
But what I ended
perhaps
up,
you can influence the network at On3 for the star rating and the player rating. Maybe you can submit your analysis.
I don't want to do that. I'm not going down this path to take on more work that I don't like. But what I ended up doing with him was I was like, okay, well, I want to look. I want to see what this kid is because we needed a tight end. And then when I watched his huddle tape, I'm like, man, I'm much more impressed with all the domination I see on defense. That dude's pursuit sideline to sideline was awesome. And unlike, and I said this, you were out of town the other day when I did talk about this, I said one thing that stood out more than anything else, he's got quick feet for his size, but when you find a guy who's offensively prolific, like, so a lot of these guys are all their team's best player, their best athlete. Like, you know, it's like when I always bring up.
There's certain tape where you go, oh, that doesn't translate.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought he translated all right at tight end, but what I thought more than anything else was I was like, man, that's an athlete who actually likes to hit. Most of the time you see guys that just play there because they can, because their team needs them to, and they're the fastest guy on the field, and, you know, or they're so big somebody can't block them. You know, something like that. If you're trying to block a defensive tackle that's 300 pounds like Timmy Jernigan in high school, and you're in Lake City, and you're some kid just playing whatever they are, 4A, 5A football, you got to be like, well, hell, man, how am I supposed to block this guy? So every time he's terrorizing somebody, you don't really know, is that just a 190-pound offensive lineman? Like, what do I do? So a lot of times those guys are two-way players. They dominate in every way, sense of the word. When you go and look at him, you could see my man could go, and he wanted to hit you. And when he arrived, he had mean intentions. He had 4 sacks in a game. I was like, okay, so that has a chance to translate. So that's how it came up. It wasn't willy-nilly. And then fast forward over a year later, then it became kind of a running joke because those guys on headlines, and you to an extent, would kind of tease me because I would always bring up the fact that, like, man, we need to move him from tight end. He's not – I'd get frustrated. And then you guys would like to antagonize me and be like, oh, yeah, he's going to be a linebacker. Sure. Didn't happen. Did it happen?
That is the timeline. There is no dispute on this.
Yeah, then it happened. So now, and I'm not projecting anybody else.
Now he's a slash. He can play both sides. And Mike Norvell has said he likes having a linebacker, DJ Lundy, most recent example, as a lead blocker. So maybe that's who Brian Courtney turns into, is the DJ Lundy and the goal line package next year. But right now he has both positions listed. They're both vying for his services, tight end and linebacker. I wonder how he's going to move around the practice fields. We'll have to see. Manage his time.
You talking about Courtney?
Yeah.
He's just a linebacker. What do we just stop
it? He's listed as both on the website.
That's just a courtesy. There's no reason. Look who we're bringing in at tight end.
And look who we have right now.
Stop the charade.
Yeah.
It's over. It's been over. They should have listened to me a year ago. It's over. I like that kid more than I like Jackson West, but, you know.
Oh, man. You should be the one to deliver that. Maybe we can get a Warchant TV exclusive.
Tell Coach that.
Yeah,
Hey, Coach,
it's
listen.
over with Jeff Cameron. Like,
Yeah.
so who's he telling it's over to this camp? Oh no! Like they open the door and you're sitting there. They go, oh no, not like this.
Oh man,
it's over, son.
You and I both know you're never going to start at the position you're currently at. Come on in here. Let Tough Love Cameron talk to you a little bit. I know you fancy yourself a defensive end, but you're a big old boy, and I got to move you to right tackle. We need your feet there. You can bend. You're athletic. You're never going to make it to the league as an end. Let's go. Come on over. It was always going to be this way. I needed you to find out over time. I knew your ego couldn't handle it.
Coach Norvell brought me in here to deliver this message to you.
Oh, man. I hope Courtney gets, some real run here. We'll see. I do think
we'll hear about it.
He's better suited.
You're going to be watching those linebacker drills. There, and if I hear, there you go, like that,
oh, yeah,
from
you'll
100
know.
feet away,
Yeah,
I'm
you'll
looking
know.
at the trenches. I'm like, well, Courtney's having a good day.
I do want to see how all honesty, all jokes aside, I do want to see how he translates, how quickly, because he hasn't done it in a while. So it'll be interesting to see. He's got the chance to play clean is the deal because the defensive line.
Oh.
So you can really run.
That implies that he would be behind some of the upper echelon defensive linemen right now, right here. This season.
Well, yeah, we're talking about Courtney linebacker, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he plays, he would. Oh well, no. I mean, if he's good enough to get in games, yeah, he'll be behind starters.
Yeah. Oh no, I thought that's where you were going. I was saying, oh man.
Oh no, I'm not projecting him to be that. No,
when Darrell Jackson paves the way.
Oh, buddy, wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun? It would be pretty funny. We could have a whole bit where you could film. You could film me on the sidelines, and I didn't ask for permission. Norvell's, what are you doing? Taking a good look at your roster. I've got some guys here out of position. I'm just here to help, Coach. You go on and do what you got to do. I'll have my notes for you at the end of the day.
Son, come over here.
Yeah. What? Who are you?
That's
what?
a media badge. Yeah.
Come on.
It is.
Come here. I got to talk to you a little bit.
So?
A little something we got to talk about here. Now, I don't know what they've told you, but I'll tell you what I see.
When we have to leave because they huddle up and Mike gives the speeches after practice, that's when you walk over and pull the kid over. Son,
come here. I want to talk to you.
to you.
Mike's looking
Coach,
over.
1 minute.
Just give me a minute here.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Talk to the team. That's fine. It's not applicable to him. Come here. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
A bed of Zaxby's crinkle fries, hand-breaded chicken, hardwood smoked bacon, and buttermilk ranch. It's the perfect comfort food. Pillow sold separately. Chicken bacon ranch loaded fries. Woo, saucy!
Hey, this is your stomach speaking. It's time to eat again. We met deadlines and closed out the workday like a boss. The last thing you want to do is cook dinner. Even worse, pick up any fast food garbage. We need something good, something local. We need foodiestakeout.com. An all-star lineup of local spots like Smitty's Tap House, El Jalisco, Terry's Cafe, Hangar 38, Metro Deli, and more. It's so easy. Just choose pickup or delivery, and let's eat the good stuff. I'm growling already. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-452-5050. That's 1-800-452-5050.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
You know, you ever seen the mashup?
Yeah.
It's fiction. We made it up.
But it's not.
No, no. The closest thing I could say is the Captain Nemo's adventure in Magic Kingdom years and years ago.
That was always really exciting. Yeah. I went. I got inside of a submarine a few weeks back, coming back from New Orleans, in Mobile.
What did you think? Do you feel claustrophobic?
No, I couldn't do it, buddy. I couldn't do it. There's no chance. I know that you have to be like a little person to be on a sub. I don't think you can be like a decent sized guy.
Yeah, my best friend Richard growing up was on a sub for a couple of tours, and he said,
"No,
it's not great." Especially, he says the thing that they don't
not great.
The thing that they don't tell you about is they have so few beds that you're sleeping in the same bed as somebody else on rotation. So it's just a germ fest.
And also the beds they do have, there's like a guy right in front of you, his ass is down by your head.
Yeah,
you know, it's
right.
all of it's not good.
So if you had beans served in the commissary,
you're just a dude.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's not a good situation. Yeah, so I took the kids onto we were there at the USS Alabama. You can go on the ship, which is amazing. I think a lot of people probably have done that who are listening to the show. It's right there. It's worth your time. It's worth doing. It's pretty neat to do that. But then next to that, they have an old sub that shot down 2 Japanese warships. It's awesome. Like you can see the pictures that they took.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, it's neat. But
the Pacific footage is
buddy.
underrated in terms of war history. You always see what's going on in Europe, but the Pacific footage of all the planes going down, the crashing into the ships.
And the poor residents of the islands who were told all these crazy stories. So when the Americans took over, they jump off the cliffs because they were told they were going to be tortured. Like, it's nuts. But anyhow, when you go into the sub, I got to tell you, buddy, no, sir. I was there. We probably got halfway down I don't know I have no idea the jargon for the sub, but
down the steps.
Well, probably like a quarter of a way into whatever the main hole would be of the sub. I was like, no. This is, you'd have to tie me up. I'd be ready to kill somebody. There's zero chance. You can't move. It's tiny.
Yeah. Any naval vessel, really.
Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. And because all you can think about is if they find us and they blow us up, this is a bad death. If anything goes wrong, this is not good.
Depth charges. What a terrible way to go.
Well, and just like it shakes the hell out of the sub, and now you hear it creaking, and there's a leak, and you're like, oh, no, here it comes. This is going to be an awful death. We're going to drown like sardines. This is not it.
I was probably 11, maybe 12 when U-571 came out, Matthew McConaughey. It's one of the movies that shows you the lie that he's living with his hairline because he has it shaped for U-571. You can see, oh, yeah, there's nothing there. The depth charge scene. Harrowing.
Mm-hmm.
They got to keep going lower and lower, and these U-boats are not designed to go lower than whatever it is, 200 meters, and they have to keep going lower and lower, and you just hear these explosions. And you're thinking, oh my
man,
God,
no,
I don't know which way I'd rather go. Like,
I'd rather be blown to bits.
Would you rather be Band of Brothers in the plane and there's flak shooting into the sky, or depth charges underneath the water? Either way.
Yeah.
Good gracious.
Yeah, imagine being in the turret. Oh. It's a toughie. Yeah. I don't want to be high in the air, and I don't want to be on the open ocean. That's what we were talking about it earlier, like the USS Indianapolis, like being out there floating about. If you're floating about watching your buddies get eaten alive by sharks while you're dehydrated and drenched in oil, you're thinking, man, I would have been better off when this thing blew up being part of the
100%.
Yeah, just get blown to bits. Just call it a day. Like, I have no idea, right? This float down here in the ocean and nobody knows where we are, and guys are getting picked off left and right, bobbing. You go over there and you touch their shoulder, and then they go belly up and they don't have any legs. No, sir. Geez, Keith, this is not good. Blown up.
I think I'd rather be,
blown up, buddy.
Centuries earlier. Give me a sword and a shield, and we'll see what happens. You feel like you got more control. I'd rather have more control, or feel like it anyway.
Yeah. The Georgia football team's spate of speeding-related incidents continues. All right.
Really?
They can't stop themselves. No. They cannot stop themselves.
They've got embedded reporters now.
Well, this is just crazy. This is Chris Lowe. Is he just hanging out in Athens?
Chris Lowe writing something negative about an SEC program?
I know. They had to
God.
Twist his arm. Chris, get down there. No, I won't do it, I tell you. Samuel Mbemba is an outside linebacker. That's how he says it. That's exactly the way his parents pronounced the name. He was ticketed this week for going 88 to 50. Do you get to Athens and they're like, here are the keys to a very fast car. Get after it, son. Have some fun while you're here.
88 and a 50?
Yeah. His speeding citation occurred about an hour before Georgia receiver, Rosemary Jack Saint, that's the Marcus kid that is a really good player, appeared in the Athens courtroom and pled guilty to driving 90 and a 45 in May. 90 and a 45, baby. Now, listen, I like to drive fast. You know this, Tom. We get places.
Yeah, this is
we get places.
I'm calling shotgun to Charlotte in your vehicle.
Mm-hmm. We go. But I got to tell you, you got to have some wherewithal to you. If you make it to Athens and you're a highly touted young man and excited to play for the Dogs, you may want to have your wits about you. Like, now's not the time to speed. They got some speeding issues going on around here, and it has led to fatalities. So this isn't just, Larry was speeding, got his second ticket in a month. This is, people have died. We're on the news. They're going to court. Let's slow our roll. Yeah. Literally, everybody. Everybody slow it down.
Hey, how fast were you going? So I had to appear in court. Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty fast, isn't it?
Pled guilty to driving 90 and a 45. He got a reckless driving charge. He pled. It's another way of saying that. ESPN reported in June that Georgia football players and their cars have been involved in at least 10 reports of traffic violations since January. Go on and on with this, but they're adding to the ledger. Just thought you should know, adding to the ledger.
I could be wrong, and maybe the 18 or 19-year-old me would have said I would like to drive. But in the era of the NIL, wouldn't you just negotiate that you get a driver? Like you get one.
I don't know that you're getting a driver. I mean, we are not at that place. Do you think Battles Inn is paying for a kid to have a driver?
You don't need it all that often. It's not like you need to be driven somewhere every day, especially the way that Florida State's campus is set up. Now that you could just live in College Town and walk everywhere. But yeah, if I needed a ride home.
No, I want a car. I want a car.
You'd want a car?
I want a car.
Yeah.
I just won't go 100 in a 45. I want a car.
I'll go 62.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, if I'm driving down to visit the folks or something like that, parents live in Bradenton, I'm going to get on the highway. I want a car.
Oh, yeah.
You want a car, man. You're not always locked in on campus. What about dates?
I'll have my driver pick you up. That sounds pretty cool.
It does, but I don't think anybody's got it like that. I don't think there's no player on this.
Ride shares aren't that expensive. You just got, it's always XL and above in terms of the ride share. So you always get the SUV.
Yeah. I think if I were in the NFL and I was out and about with all the money and decided to have a good time or something, I might have a driver at all times. I want witnesses to make sure everything's going cool. But, man.
Well, some of these cars these kids are getting, apparently, how much is the lease payment on that?
I don't know.
What's cheaper?
The Georgia situation's bizarre. Like, all jokes aside, like, usually I roll my eyes at a lot of these things, kids being kids type stuff. And like you said, you end up having embedded reporters. Once something becomes a problem, then you're really going to hear about a lot of minor things that become big deals because they're on the backs of all these other problems. But I will say that I think it was rather alarming. And again, we live in an era of NIL, so it's not what it used to be. But when they got to the site of the race and one of the guys was in a Lamborghini,
right?
I mean, good Lord, no wonder Georgia is scoring big in the recruiting world on the regular.
Street racing, Lamborghini, somebody dies, it doesn't stop. Okay, at that point,
we got a problem.
Yeah,
we've got some issues going on here.
Even me, the guy who says, I can't stand the Burger King soda cup thing.
Right.
Yeah, all right, you probably need to run that story. That's probably newsworthy for the safety of the public at Athens and beyond.
It continues to happen.
And it keeps going.
And going.
Cautionary tale. No, he's dead. No big deal. Let's continue.
And that's a Lamborghini. Who's getting you a Lamborghini? Come on, Battles Inn. Are we out here dishing out Lamborghinis? Apparently Georgia is. Good Lord. Come back and wrap it up here shortly. Here's a Mustang. Will that work? It's a Mustang. It's nice. No, I want the Maserati. Get the hell here.
Your local news now.
What used to only be a matter of waiting until you're 21 to legally buy a vape has now changed for Georgia users. As of July 1st, vaping in smoke-free zones is illegal. New law aligns with Georgia's Smoke-Free Air Act that went into play back in 2005 that supports preserving public health. The Smoke-Free Act is something legislation has built on since that time. Penalties for breaking the new law could include a misdemeanor charge and fine that could vary between $100 to $500. Fire crews in Quincy and Gadsden County worked for hours Wednesday night, making sure a fire at the True Leaf marijuana warehouse off Virginia Street in Quincy didn't reignite. The fire happened at Building 2 at the Hickton Facility cultivation site that's near Carolina and Virginia Streets and Lillian Spring Road. Once on scene, they did find flames, but were able to get those under control. After that, they battled smoke issues. True Leaf officials said no employees were inside when the fire started, and it was contained to one building. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Michael Carroll with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. We'll see a blend of clouds and sunshine developing for this afternoon with some late day showers and storms developing, highs in the upper 90s. Then for tonight, showers and storms likely, especially in the evening, low of 75, with mid 90s for highs on Saturday. And this report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 87.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Dana Brooks of Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Home from a Rays game. Yeah, I've pushed the needle. I've pushed the envelope a little bit too, Tony. Over the years.
$120?
I don't know if I may have gotten to $120. My mom's old 528E, man, BMW, that could go. And, I like to drive fast. So I do think there might have been some I-75, 275 moments where it's late. Let's see what this thing can do.
75 and 275.
Yeah, 75.
There are too many hills. They've flattened it out considerably in the last 15 years.
Well, yeah. If you want to drive fast, Veterans Parkway, that expressway there, that thing, that you can get going. There's a lot of turns, but there's a couple stretches where you can.
When it turns into the Suncoast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's opportunities galore.
I have taken those opportunities. I've told the story about the phone call that I got. You recall that? That was a good one. Car was given to me by somebody I used to have a working relationship with from the lot.
Oh, yes. This is awesome.
I didn't realize that they had a monitor on those cars that they give out to people to use for the weekend. And it alerts them back at the dealership.
Like you had a parole officer.
Right. It alerts them back at the dealership anytime the car exceeds 90 miles per hour. And I was driving back from Tampa, and for a long stretch of time, I was exceeding 90 miles per hour, and then I would dip back below and then get back above the 90. And finally, so the alarm, in essence, was going off repeatedly back at the dealership, and I got this call. Hey, Jeff, you think you can slow it down a little bit? I keep getting the notice on my computer here. What? Well, anytime you go over 90 and this thing keeps going off every 30 seconds when you exceed 90, sorry about that. Yeah, wouldn't be so bad if you didn't go down to 88, then back to 95, and then back down to 88, then over 95. Just keeps going off. It's kind of annoying. It's like, didn't know you even had those things, which is really cool.
We'll find out if your new car company does, for purposes of whatever, for Charlotte. That'd be great.
Oh, man. I don't have to worry about that now. Now it's a different story altogether. But, yesterday I skipped right over solving for the future with our friends from ISF. And for that, I'm sorry, because I do not like to skip over that partnership with my friends at ISF and all the good work that they do.
Well, you wanted to collaborate with me.
I did want to collaborate with you. What kind of future do you want to solve for FSU football here? There's not a lot to solve. I mean, we've done some solving all summer long already.
I'd like to solve the mystery of when is camp going to start. That's what I'd like to solve. I put in a request during that segment. People might have seen me look down at my phone. I said, the hell with this. I want an answer.
Who did you ask? You ask a coach?
No. If you're going to ask a coach something, you wait for a larger favor than, hey, when is camp going to start?
ISF developed a strategic roadmap and specific actionable recommendations for the Florida Department of State, including identification of steps to meet future business requirements of the organization, network infrastructure, data security, hardware, system support, and disaster recovery and planning. Through strategic vision sessions, careful assessment of existing resources, ISF provided 6 initiatives and 20 prioritized projects for the department's consideration. We just want one. We want one. We want to know on the Jeff Cameron Show, and it can be prioritized. If you're listening right now,
this is what happens when we are prioritized.
Mike Norvell, reach out to me. You got my number. Text me and let me know. Coach, when does camp start? Tom wants to know.
Well, the luncheon is one of the better days of the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
We get the assignments of what coach we're going to talk to on the record, but we all sit down, break bread beforehand, and you get a little bit extra here or there. What do they think this kid's going to be? Who do they think is going to be perhaps a standout in camp? Who are they pushing hard? And just in general, you get to gauge their comfort level. Coaches are always, you're right, up against it, especially in fall camp. You can feel that urgency in every word.
They're ready to go.
But then you can also see whether there's the calm, the belief, concern, doubt. It's just always great. It's always great to be able to do that. And I want to know what afternoon it's going to be. It's usually a Friday afternoon, usually.
I'm always smiling when we drive over there for that because Mike talks a lot about what he's excited about, but he usually reveals some nuggets, Hey, this guy's switching sides of the ball, or this guy's whatever it might be, right? I mean,
workout warriors.
Yeah, somebody, this much weight has been gained, all of these things.
There's the injury question, which he dodges, but sometimes you get to know if a guy's going to be out a little bit longer. The Jordan Travis question and answer from spring was great about, well, we know what he is, so we're going to let some of these other guys compete.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be another question for this camp, too. I mean, you could do that maybe for the first week or two, but then it's got to be go time for the ones.
Yeah, and the solving for the future, by the way, this part of it is, at the end of the day, I think we are starting to get a little bit antsy about the Darrell Jackson situation.
I mean, yeah, we're on the other side of July 4th.
It's the first time. I know everybody in the chat responds with this, and, when are we going to find out? No, I haven't really worried about it. I know the NCAA drags their heels, but while we're solving for aspects of the future, like when does camp start, who had a good offseason, who's gained weight, who switched, can we get an idea when the hell this thing is supposed to be resolved? LSU's not that far away.
Yeah, I think if we don't have an answer when he's in Charlotte, then we have a red alert problem. The kid will still practice. So I think that would be their answer to project calm. Well, I mean, he's going to practice every day.
Well, it didn't do me any good. He had a lot of practice.
But he'll be ready to go the moment that the switch is flipped.
Well,
but you would like the switch to be flipped.
The switch needs to be flipped. He's a difference maker, and he's in a money situation. He's got to play, and he's got to play well, and he can get paid. He can change his life and his family's life forevermore. That should be enough. I don't even care if you like football. If you know you got a chance through athleticism and mass, he's a huge dude, that if I play really hard this 1 year and I give everything I got, I'm a multimillionaire. That's what's at stake here. He's got that. And so you get him at the right time. You didn't want him when he was at Maryland. What good would it do? He didn't like football. He's just half-assing his way through the day. You didn't want him at Miami. He was all right, but he wasn't a game changer. He could be a dominant game changer here. It's the money year.
Yeah, the thing I want to know about how they're going to run practice, because they did it a couple times in spring, are they going to dedicate more periods in which there's going to be concurrent offense versus defense drills? Like, are you going to see the twos and the threes operate at the same time that you have the ones going? They could do that individual stuff and the 7-on-7, and you can mix and match, and that's fine. But I want to know if this camp is going to feature more of that, because let's just say it's the ones and the threes, because that's what they would do. Jimbo, a little bit different. He would do ones, threes, twos, fours. But I would like to see the third team offense run concurrent to the first and second team mixing in and out. Because then if you get an A.J. Duffy versus Brock Glenn battle with Hakeem Williams and Goldie Lawrence and some of these younger offensive linemen going against Daniel Lyons and Ayo Tafasi.
You get a better feel for what's
buddy.
That's exciting.
That is exciting stuff, because you're trying to cultivate long-term while you're working on the short-term. And they show that they are willing to run practice that way, but will they do it this fall? Because you have more bodies than ever, more talent than ever.
It's cool. It's a really good situation to be in. Our thanks to our friends at ISF. You want to learn more, go to isf.com to figure it all out. Power Mill. Power Mill sponsors Probables. You can sign your kids up today for softball or baseball, developing strong fundamental skills. The foundation to any player's game. They do that for you at Power Mill. Thus, your kids have more fun playing baseball and softball. Terrific instruction. Sign up for one of the summer camps today. Lots of activities and games and drills and all that good stuff. PowerMillSports.com. Cue it up, baby.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Blue Jays, Tigers, Alek Manoah, Alex Fado. We got the Braves and the Rays. Should be a great series. Charlie Morton, and Tyler Glasnow. Phillies, Marlins. Should be a great series. Zach Wheeler, Sandy Alcantara, who's been very hittable. Rangers, Nats, Cody Bradford, Trevor Williams, former Bucco. Cubs, Yankees, Jameson Taillon, former Bucco. Carlos Rodon. Royals, Guardians, Daniel Lynch, Aaron Savale. We got the A's and the Red Sox, Luis Medina and Brennan Bernardino. Mariners, Astros, Luis Castillo, Hunter Brown. Orioles, Twins, Cole, Irvin, Bailey, Umber. We got the Cardinals and the White Sox, Jordan Montgomery, Dylan Cease. Reds, Brewers, Andrew Abbott, Corbin Burns. Pirates, D-backs, Rich Hill. Come on, Rich. Zach Gallen going for the D-backs. Mets, Padres, Justin Verlander, Yu Darvish. Pretty good matchup.
Both teams playing good ball right now out of nowhere.
Should be fun. Both are 41 and 46. Angels, Dodgers, Griffin Canning cheating again on the golf course. Tony Gonsolin goes for the Dodgers. Rockies, Giants, TBD, and Ross Stripling. That is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Man, you were feeling it. That one hurt.
Hurt us all, baby. Sorry about that.
All right, man. Good work out of you. Good to have you back. Great work out of you as always, Director Matthew. To all of you who listened, watched, all the good stuff, thank you so much for doing so. Be well. Have a great weekend. We'll be back with you on Monday. Peace.